General Hospital spoilers tease that under the canopy of towering pines at Deception University's annual spring campout, laughter and guitar strums will soon be drowned by panicked shouts, screeching sirens, and the crushing weight of betrayal. What begins as a night of innocent revelry quickly unravels into a nightmare when Detective Dante Falconeri arrives to find his younger brother, Rocco, slumped unconscious beside a roaring bonfire, but this is no mere consequence of underage drinking. Someone has tainted Rocco's drink with a potent sedative, transforming youthful indiscretion into a fight for life. As portents of danger flicker in every shadow, loyalties will shatter, secrets will claw their way into the open, and the search for the true mastermind behind the attack will expose the darkest underbelly of Port Charles. The evening's festivities had been meticulously planned. Lanterns strung between pines, a makeshift stage carved from driftwood, and students gathered around the fire, clapping and singing as marshmallows crisped to golden perfection. Rocco Falconeri, prized for his easy grin and boundless energy, had arrived in high spirits, flanked by friends old and new. Among them was Danny Morgan, whose reputation for reckless bravado and fascination with Port Charles's underworld lent the gathering a frisson of danger. Danny, tapping a borrowed guitar case, wove through groups of classmates, inviting Rocco to join him at the bonfire's edge. There, illuminated by flickering flames, Danny pressed a dark glass bottle into his friend's hand, a gesture that, at first glance, looked like harmless indulgence. But within that liquid lay betrayal. When Dante's badge caught the lantern light, Rocco's head lolled back, his breath shallow and uneven. Dante's heart lurched as he dropped to his knees beside his brother, prying the bottle from the boy's slack fingers. His voice, usually a calm force of authority, cracked with fury. "What did I tell you about underage drinking, Rocco?" But before the boy could muster a reply, he lurched forward, vomiting into the mossy earth. Dante's face drained of color as the acrid tang of bile and chemicals filled the night air. Beside him, Lulu Spencer, Rocco's devoted friend and Dante's former ward, screamed for help, her voice trembling with terror. This was no ordinary overindulgence. Rocco's body was in the throes of chemical assault. Paramedics arrived within minutes, but every second felt like an eternity. Dante watched, fists clenched, as Rocco's vitals flickered on the stretcher's monitor. The boy's skin, pale as the moon overhead, glistened with sweat. Lulu refused to leave his side, cradling his head and murmuring his favorite lullaby to steady his faltering pulse. When the ambulance door slid shut, Dante slipped inside beside them. The siren's scream cut through the night, echoing Dante's mounting dread. He gripped Lulu's shoulder. "We make it," he promised, even as his heart pounded with a desperate question: how could Rocco, so carefully watched, fall victim to something so insidious? At Port Charles General Hospital, the emergency room erupted into controlled chaos. Dr. Patel barked orders as nurses swarmed, drawing blood, inserting IVs, and prepping Rocco for imaging. Dante stood guard by the door, arms crossed, eyes flashing with worry. Lulu hovered by the bed, clutching Rocco's hand as tubes snaked into his veins. Hours later, when Dr. Patel drew Dante and Lulu into the corridor, Dante braced himself. The doctor's expression was grim. His blood work shows extreme levels of a long-acting sedative mixed with ethanol. Far beyond what his body could handle naturally. Dante's knees threatened to buckle. "Intentional poisoning," the doctor added, voice low enough only for them to hear. "If we'd arrived 20 minutes later, he wouldn't have survived." The words hit Dante like a physical blow. Someone had targeted his brother, someone willing to kill. And the list of suspects in Port Charles, though small, brimmed with motive, smoldering rivalries, financial vendettas, tangled family feuds. Yet Dante could think of no one more likely to be at the scene that night than Danny Morgan, the boy who'd convinced Rocco to attend and who'd mysteriously appeared holding that bottle. Dante's jaw clenched at the thought. Danny, son of Jason Morgan, had always skirted danger, dabbling in pranks, chasing older hearts, and idolizing the city's crime lords. But would he poison a friend? Or was he merely a pawn in someone else's ruthless game? Confronting Danny outside the ICU, Dante's voice was icy calm. "Show me your hands," he ordered, and Danny obeyed, pale and uncertain. "Did you spike Rocco's drink?" Dante demanded. Danny's eyes darted to the ICU doors, where Lulu still stood by Rocco's bed, tears glinting on her lashes. I didn't mean this to happen, Danny stammered, voice barely audible. Someone offered me money. He swallowed, facing Dante's steely gaze. $5,000. They said it would be a harmless prank, that underage status meant I'd get off easy. Dante's heart thundered. Who offered you that money? Danny hesitated, lungs heaving with panic. I don't know his name, just that he wore a tailored suit, smelled like cologne, told me if I followed instructions, I'd be set for life. Inside the ICU, Rocco lay unconscious, monitors beeping steadily now, a fragile lifeline. Lulu pressed her cheek to his hand, silently pleading for him to wake. Dante's world narrowed to his brother's door and a confession playing out outside. Danny, caught between fear and remorse, sank to his knees. I'm sorry, he whispered. I never wanted to hurt him. Dante's face hardened. You almost killed him, for cash. He stood, holstering his fury. You'll answer for this, but first, you're going to help me catch whoever paid you. As dawn crept through the hospital windows, Dante and Lulu sat in the sterile waiting area, cups of cold coffee growing stale on the table. Danny, escorted by a uniformed officer, described the scenario, an anonymous man meeting him behind the student center, directions to laced bourbon bottles, promises of immunity due to his age. Dante's mind raced with possibilities. The Morgan name carried weight. But this felt orchestrated by someone else, someone who knew how to exploit teenage impulsiveness and Port Charles's legal loopholes. Could it be a rival of the Falconeri seeking vengeance? Or an insider at the university aiming to spark scandal? Just as Danny's recounting reached its tense peak, Rocco's eyelids fluttered. Lulu leaped to his side, pressing a hand to his chest as he coughed, eyes brimming with fear. Dante rushed over, relief and rage warring in his expression. You hear that, kid, he said softly. You're tougher than this. Rocco blinked, trying to focus. His gaze shifted to Danny, who stood a few feet away, tears staining his cheeks. Recognition and betrayal flashed in Rocco's eyes. Danny, he croaked. Danny's shoulders shook. I'm so sorry, Rocco. Rocco's lips trembled as confusion and hurt warped his features. Why? Over the next 24 hours, Port Charles's finest mobilized. Detectives scoured security footage from the campout, tracing Danny's routes, searching for the mysterious suit. Hospital forensics alerted them when Rocco's toxicology report revealed a unique compound, one not commonly stocked in local pharmacies. In a startling breakthrough, they discovered the same sedative missing from locked cabinets at Deception University's medical lab, traceable to Dr. Owens's inventory. Dr. Owens, a respected campus physician, had fallen under the influence of powerful suitors in Port Charles's shadowy circles. Moreover, whispers suggested he'd been approached by a third party eager to frame Rocco, a boy whose father's investigations into organized crime had earned deadly enemies. As Dante pieced together these fragments, he realized the conspiracy extended far beyond a birthday prank gone awry. This was a targeted strike, meant to cripple the Falconeri family through its weakest link, a teenager shielded only by youthful innocence. The question remained, who profited most from Rocco's downfall? Sonny Corinthos's crime empire? Tracy Quartermain's corporate machinations? Or a newcomer looking to destabilize Port Charles's balance of power? Meanwhile, Danny, under supervised release, labored under guilt as he cooperated fully. Forensic teams matched his fingerprints inside the laced bottle, and cell tower pings placed him at the scene when the drug was purchased. His confession led detectives to an upscale lounge downtown, where they found encrypted messages on Dr. Owens's phone, messages instructing him to make it look like underage stupidity. The trail of evidence pointed to a shadowy fixer calling himself the Architect, a name as nebulous as the power he wielded. Back at the hospital, Rocco's condition stabilized, but the emotional wounds ran deeper than the physical. Dante spent hours by his brother's bedside, recounting lighter memories, campground fishing trips with Lulu, junior league baseball games, the promise of college ahead. He vowed that no matter how deep the conspiracy, he would unmask every conspirator, protect Rocco from further harm, and see justice done. Lulu, resting a gentle hand on Rocco's arm, whispered that together they would heal, stronger for their ordeal. By the end of the week, word of the attempted murder rippled through Port Charles society. Media vans lined the hospital perimeter, rumor mills churned with speculation. The Falconeri name, once synonymous with unwavering honesty and public service, was now under an even starker spotlight. Yet within the family's inner circle, unity hardened into resolve. Dante's investigation, drawing on every resource from PCPD's cold case files to Jason Morgan's underworld contacts, narrowed the suspect pool to a clandestine syndicate of wealthy puppeteers, men and women who used teenage pawns like Danny to do their bidding. In a climactic confrontation, Dante and his team cornered Dr. Owens in his private office at the university clinic. Flanked by uniforms and with cell phone cameras rolling, Owens confessed under pressure, tears streaking his cheeks as he revealed the identity of the architect, a board member who resented the Falconeri's influence on campus policy and had orchestrated the plot to tarnish their name. Evidence seized from the board member's home, financial records showing illicit payments, vial samples matching the sedative, sealed the case. As the board member was led away in handcuffs, the campus rallied around Rocco. A healing ceremony at the bonfire site featured lanterns released skyward, each bearing wishes for the boy's swift recovery and a brighter future for Deception University. Danny, barred from the ceremony but watching from afar, vowed silently to remake himself, to earn forgiveness, and to atone for his betrayal. Dante stood beside Rocco and Lulu, the trio bound by trauma now renewed in hope. General Hospital spoilers promised a harrowing saga of poisoned drinks, shaken family bonds, and the chilling realization that no one in Port Charles is beyond reach when power-hungry puppeteers decide to play God. Through Dante's unrelenting pursuit of truth, Lulu's steadfast compassion, and Rocco's miraculous survival, the town learned that even the darkest conspiracies can be brought into the light, and that sometimes, the fiercest guardianship arises when innocence is nearly lost. As night fell on Port Charles once more, the embers of that fateful bonfire still smoldered, a testament to the resilience of those who refuse to be broken, and a warning that in this city, every shadow may hide a story yet untold.